All right, today we're going to talk about building a database. This is Hometown University, and we're going to talk about your center of influence, the people that you know in the world. We'll talk about how to motivate them to help you in your real estate business. There's two kinds of people in the world. You have the ones that you know, and you have the ones that you don't know. And obviously you can generate business from both sources, but today again it's about the people that you know. I'm going to use the term database and I'm going to use the term center of influence. Those are going to be fairly synonymous, so we'll use those interchangeably. So let's sort of define what each of these really mean, or they mean together. So my definition for center of influence is this. I think the center of influence is your sales force, and you are the sales manager. Your job is to educate and motivate your sales force to sell you to everyone you encounter. Again, your center of influence is your sales force. So imagine you've got a group of people that are out in the world working for you every day, and you're the sales manager. Your job as that sales manager is to motivate these people, just as it would be if you were a sales manager at a different kind of a job. You've got to motivate your sales force to get out there and sell you. So your job is to motivate and educate your sales force to sell you to everyone they encounter. Imagine if you could get everyone you know to get out in the world and sell you every day. How nice would your business be? So that's what we have to do. So number one, how do we educate these people? What do they need to know to be able to get out on the front lines, get out in the world, and actually sell you to people that they know? So first thing, they need to know what you do. Who are you looking for? You know, what are you trying to do? They need to know that you are out there trying to find buyers and sellers for homes, if that's what you do. If you're involved in land, then that's a good thing. They can try to help you find people that own land or that are looking for land. Maybe your thing is relocation. You know, you're trying to help people that are moving from out of the area, or they're relocating out of the area. Maybe your thing is property management. Maybe you're into commercial. Whatever your niche is or whatever you specialize in, they need to know what that is, and they need to be able to sell that to and spread the word out to the public. Next thing you need to educate them on is, how are you different? I mean, I know in the Richmond market there's over 5,000 licensees. So what differentiates you from being average, being just one of the mill? You know, they have to know what makes you special. And I think how you do that is really, you break it down into 3 C's. Number one, character. Are you of good character? Have you demonstrated the fact that you take the moral high road whenever you can? And hopefully, by knowing you through life, they feel that way about you. Number 2, competency. You know, how competent are you in your field? Do you know how the real estate transactions work? Do you know the specific markets? Can you demonstrate that? When you speak about real estate, do you sound like you know what you're talking about? And if you do, then that separates you from the pack. The third thing is confidence. That's the 3rd C. If you can walk, act, talk, dress, look like a confident real estate agent, then people will perceive you as that. So they need to see that you are confident in your trade, and hopefully in your trade, and then they can feel like they can, you know, refer you and maybe even do business with you themselves. But again, we're talking about how to get these people to refer business to you. So you need to show them that you are competent, of good character, and have great confidence in your business. The next thing you need to educate them on is what I call the referral process. A lot of people don't know how to give referrals. Some people are great at it. And on a side note, as you build your database, as you build your center of influence, you want to really specialize on the people that are great at giving referrals. You know how those people are. Some people, every time you say, gee, I think I might need to go to the dentist, well, they're like, oh, well, you need to go see, you know, Graham Gardner, he's the best, or whoever it might be. They're just going to always try to refer you to a hairdresser or a dentist or a painter or whatever else. You're looking to bring those people into your database, into your center of influence, because they're going to be great connectors for you. But as far as the referral process, so the first thing when they see somebody who might be a good client for you, they need to understand what that is. So what is a good prospect for you? For me, I'd like to see somebody who's looking to buy or sell a home in the next 6 months. That would be a great introduction for me if I could meet somebody who is looking to do that. And your thing may be a little bit different depending on where you specialize, but they need to know what a good prospect is for you. So they need to identify that. That's fairly normal. Most people get that. They can do that. The next thing they need to do is they need to sell me to that prospect. They need to maybe have a testimonial about me. Say, we worked with Deane and he did a great job and we would really recommend him. Or I've known Bob for my whole life and I tell you, he would be excellent. So first is identify the good prospect. Second is then sell me to the prospect. And that, unfortunately, is where it usually stops. Then usually a business card is handed out and then it's over. And that's better than nothing. But what would take it to the next level? That's number 3 takes it to the next level. Gain permission for me to contact the client. So if you're going to give me a referral, I want you to gain permission for me to call that person or me to reach out and contact them. That separates this thing from the pack. If you just get the business card, well, then it's sort of the ball's in their court. The ball's in the prospect's court if they're going to reach back out to me. If you gain permission for me to call and then go to number 4, immediately contact me with the client's contact information, then I'm in control. Then I can make the contact and make sure that I can give them the good help in real estate that they deserve. So again, identify the prospect, sell me to the prospect, gain permission for me to contact them, and then immediately contact me with the client's information. If they don't do it immediately, what happens? They forget, okay? So that's why you want to immediately do it. And then once you receive that, a good thing for you to do is make sure you give that referral source certainly some appreciation and also some feedback to let them know that you made the contact. Let them know you're going to set up an appointment with Bob and Mary to talk about listing their home. And then, you want to reward referrals. This is an interesting, a lot of people say, well, shouldn't I wait till the deal closes to give some kind of a thank you, reward, if you will? Well, I don't think so. I think you want to reward the behavior, not the result. If Chris is going to go out there and refer me, I want to make sure that he knows that I appreciate that, whether the deal closes or not. I just want to know that, I want him to know that I am thankful for his referrals. And then if he's sending me some people that maybe aren't qualified or whatever, then we can work on educating him on exactly what I'm looking for and maybe finding better referrals, but I don't want to disincentivize him in any way. So I want to reward the referral behavior, not the result. So keep that in mind. So that's really the educate side of things. Remember, the definition is we want to educate and motivate our sales force to sell us to everyone they encounter. So then how do you motivate them? That's the key, because if they know what to do, now you got to get them to do it. All right, number 1, you motivate people by giving great customer service. If you take care of your people, if you do the right thing, if you always consider your clients to be number 1, which is what we're supposed to do, but not everybody does, if you consider them number 1 and you give great customer service, then your past clients and the people who know you will want to refer you. It's just a natural thing that's going to happen. Secondly, you have to continuously contact these people and remind them that you're in the business, remind them that you are interested in gaining referrals, and remind them of the good job you do every day. So how do you do that? How do you contact these people? Well, if you've ever heard of a guy named Brian Buffini, he says calls, notes, and pop-bys. It's okay to call them on the phone. It's okay to drop by and see them. That's what a pop-by is. It's okay to write a handwritten note. I mean, think of that. How many handwritten notes do you get today? I might get 1 or 2 a month maybe, but that's, if you receive a handwritten note, you do know one thing. They took some time, it's personal, and they care about you. And that's what you want to do. I want people to understand that I care about them, and if I care about them, they're likely to care about me and maybe want to give me a referral. So you can also do things like set up a lunch or a coffee and just see these people. Now, don't beg them for business. Don't be one of these sort of leeches that's going to just beg and beg and beg. That's not the whole thing. Let them know what you're doing. Let them know you're active in the business, and you could say sort of subtly, by the way, if you ever run anybody who's looking to buy or sell a home, I'd love to talk to those people. I'd love to hear from you about that. and then remind them about the referral process. I think a lot of agents make the mistake of sometimes, especially new agents, they want to, what I call, fire hose their center of influence or their database. And what that means is they want to just ram the whole process. Like they want to give some kind of super crash course on getting referrals or whatever. That's not how you do it. You start slow. If somebody doesn't really get it, then you can sort of educate them, give them 1 or 2 points to help them along the way. One way to do that is what we call future pacing. So you could say, hey, Bob, if you were at work and somebody said something about buying a house, what would you do? Put them in a situation that's likely to happen in their life and just sort of see how they'd react. And they might say, well, gosh, I would hand them your business card. You say, that's great. But you know what might take it to the next level is if you maybe sold them on me a little bit, tell them a little story about how I helped you with your house, and then gain permission for me to call. That way they're going to expect a call from me. They've given permission for me to call them. And then if you let me know their telephone number right away, then I'll get on that, and it's likely that we'll hook up. And that way you save them from getting together with some agent that doesn't know what they're doing. So again, that's motivational too. All the contacts. Real estate's a contact sport. If you're not contacting people, they may just sort of figure that you're out of the business or you're not interested in their referrals. Let them know. You always want to thank you. We mentioned the rewards or whatever, but a good old-fashioned sincere thank you goes a long way in this world, so I would make sure you do that. And again, you need to be asking for the business, but not be pushy. Realize there is definitely a line between being pushy and being someone who is interested in getting referrals and doing a good job for people. So how do you build this database? Who do you include? And then how do you get it together? So that's an interesting question. You can have a database that's too big. It's almost, if it's too big, there's an old phrase that says, I can't see the forest through the trees. If you have too many people, you can't manage it. And then if you have too few people, unless they're really good, there's just, you don't have enough to generate the business that you're going to want. So what we try to do is, the first thing I think about is, when I was putting together a database, when I talk to agents about putting together a database, is you think about if you had a flat tire and you're on the side of the road, people driving by, who would stop and help you? Like which of your friends would pretend they didn't see you and keep going, or which ones are going to stop and help you? Certainly those ones that will stop and help you, they need to be on the top of the list. And you want to prioritize this list because some people are really going to get it and some people aren't that good at referrals. I joke around all the time. I have friends that I've known for life and that would probably sacrifice their life for me, but they're just not good at giving referrals or at producing referrals. They just don't feel comfortable, and that's okay. And then I have other people that I've met only in a short period of time, maybe people that I've just met through a real estate transaction. And they would lay on the train tracks to give me a referral. So the ones that you feel are going to be more likely to help you, then they want to be at the top of the list. You want to have more frequent contact and do special things for these people as you build the list. If you don't have a database at all, probably the best thing to do is schedule a 30-minute time period, a couple days for the first week, maybe 3 days for the first week, 30 minutes a day. And then sit down and just go through the alphabet and think about who do I know whose name starts with A? Alan, Alice, Arnold, whatever, and just sort of write the names down and try to build the list of people that you think might help you with your real estate business. Think about people, vendors, and people that you do business with. One little tip is people whose businesses are dependent upon referrals, they might be more likely to understand the referral game and give more referrals than somebody who is in a business where referrals don't matter. So think about those people. Think about your family, your friends, your neighbors. Go through your phone and look at your contacts. Most of those people probably should be on the list. If you've recently had a big party, look at the invitation list that you sent out. If you were recently married, look at the list of all the people that came to the wedding or that were invited to the wedding. So build that list, and then it's constantly a revision. Your database is not a static situation. So once you have it, from time to time, you need to go back through the list and realize, hey, Joe is really getting it. I thought he might have been like a a B or a C, but he's really starting to produce referrals. He's an A now. And then maybe, Bill was an A, but Bill moved to China, so he's out of the game. Or something like that. So we're constantly massaging this list, moving people up, down, whatever. And then don't be afraid if people just aren't getting it and you're not getting any responses. Brian Buffini calls those D's, delete. So you can send them on. So how do you then manage it? I use Brian Buffini's Referral Maker software, which is a database management system. You don't have to use that. There's a bunch of them that are specifically designed for real estate. Top Producer is another one. But you can use Outlook. You can use any kind of client management software. You can even, some people even use old school methods like note cards or something. I like the computerized method, obviously, because it's portable, it's on your cell phone, it's everywhere with you, it's backed up. But whatever works for you is probably the best system to use. I will tell you that some methods that don't work too well, and one of those is what I call the mental method. When you first start out, you might think, well, I can keep all this in my head. As you get older and as your business grows, it doesn't work. It's going to leave fairly quickly. So that's, I just think if you can get all the information, get it in the database, then that helps you be able to send letters. One of the nice things about the Referral Maker thing with Brian Buffini is when you're doing your pop buys, you can be somewhere in a certain part of town, hit the button, and it'll show you who lives near there, and you could stop by and see those people if you had a few extra minutes. That's one of the things that I really like. So that's the answer to how you manage the data. Think about the power of this whole thing. Okay, why do you need to really focus on the database? Like I said, there's a lot of different ways to generate business in real estate, and this is not the only way. Why is this good? Number one, if you're dealing with referrals from people that you know and like, there's a good chance you might know and like these people, and it's a lot more fun and a lot more enjoyable to work with people that you know and that you like and that you're going to get along with, and then they're going to be more likely to refer you business down the line. And that's the whole thing, exponential growth. If I start with one person and they refer me two, and then each of those people refer me two, and so on, you build a giant network of people that are out there in your database that are constantly educated and motivated to sell you to everyone that they know. So think about that exponential growth. Here's a couple extra points on this thing. And again, this is not the complete every bit of minutia of how to build this database and how to manage this thing. This is a great way to get you started and to really get you thinking about it. Number one, try to bring value when you make a contact with a client. If you just call and say, hey, you got anybody to refer to me? That's not that motivational. That's not too exciting for the people. Let them know some information about real estate in their neighborhood. Maybe if a house, look, before you make the call, see if any homes have sold in their neighborhood and let them know about that. Try to bring value. If you can be the center of referrals for them, then that brings value to these people. What does that mean? Well, I want people to call me if they need a plumber, if they need a dentist, if they need some advice on something, financial advice or whatever. Call me and let me hook you up with somebody that I know. Let me be the center, the hub of the referrals in their world. Because if I can get into that position, then I'm sure they're going to call me when it's time for real estate for themselves or for somebody that they know. Another thing to think about, in your database, a lot of times you're going to have married couples, husband and wife. And what I made the mistake of for years is thinking that really counts as one. If I call Bob of Bob and Mary, then I've done my due diligence and that's all I need to do. Well, think about this. I know at least in my world, my wife and I, we have some of the same friends, but we also have different friends. She sees people all the time that I never have any contact with. So as an agent, if you're not talking to both husband and wife, you're not really penetrating their entire center of influence and maybe leaving some referrals on the table. So that's important to think about. If you do know both people and you're comfortable with both people, make sure you're reaching out to both of them. They count as two, not just one. A lot of people, when they are talking to folks, they make the conversation all about themselves. And that's Not either. I wrote down, don't make it always about you. You've got 2 ears and 1 mouth. Use those proportionately. Listen and show them you care. Remember we talked about caring earlier in this discussion. You need to let them know that you care about them. And if you do that, they're probably going to care about you. Some of your best sources for your center of influence and getting referrals from your center of influence or database are your current clients. And you need to lay the groundwork for a referral relationship up front. When we sit down on a buyer appointment or a seller appointment, I start talking about referrals up front. The best way you can say thank you to me once we do a good job for you is to refer your family, your friends, people that you know to me and let us help them and give them the same kind of great service we're going to give you. And a lot of times I'll say, and while I have my pen out, well, who do you know right now that might be looking to buy or sell a home? Don't be afraid to ask, but again, don't be pushy. And lastly, don't be afraid to contact your friends. Don't be afraid to reach out to your past clients. One of the worst feelings you can ever have in real estate, and if you do a good job with your database, this won't happen to you, but one of the worst feelings you have is you'll be driving in your car, riding down through some neighborhood and think, oh yeah, my friend Ted lives over here. Let's see what's going on. And you notice a real estate sign down the street, and you're wondering, maybe I wonder if one of Ted's neighbors is selling their house. And as you get closer, you realize that's not one of Ted's neighbors, that's Ted's house, and that's not my sign. Well, if you haven't been in touch with Ted, and if you don't have a good database management program, and you're not showing people that you care, and you're not showing them that you're confident, and that you're competent, and that you're of good character, then don't blame them for listing their house with somebody else. Blame yourself. I hope you never find yourself in that situation. So that wraps it up on the database and center of influence. I hope you picked up a few things. Thanks for watching Hometown University, and we'll see you soon.